Hey, how are you? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Drew, aka Booty Sweat, and today I have to make kind of an unfortunate video, and I'm gonna explain why it's unfortunate. So those who have been watching the channel for a while, might not be many of you, but you know that I'm not a particularly negative person generally. And so, for instance, I wasn't one of the people who was kind of on the hate bandwagon for Mortal Kombat 11. I actually really liked Mortal Kombat 11 in a lot of ways. It was a very flawed game, by no means perfect, had a lot of issues with it, but overall I liked it. And I kind of want to start with the positives of Mortal Kombat 1 because I have a lot of criticisms that I want to make today, and I don't want all of the little defenders to come out of the woodwork. I swear in the last game, anytime, like, I would sing the game's praises up and down, but the one time I would make some small criticism of it, all of the defenders would come out of the woodwork to talk about how I was a hater and I was an idiot and this and that. That's par for the course. I kind of expect that, but just so they can't really do that in good faith with this video, I'm going to start with the positives for Mortal Kombat 11. So of course, starting on kind of even just a superficial level, the visuals in the game are really nice. It's a very good looking game. The graphics are nice. The sound design is nice. The hits actually feel pretty impactful. I really like a lot of the music and sound effects that they used. I like most of the voice acting, except for probably the most egregious example, which everybody's memeing on. I won't bring her up, but in addition, I really enjoy the roster. I think the roster is pretty good. They brought a lot of 3D characters back that people have been wanting. They brought back my boy Reptile. They brought back all three of my mains from MK11, which were Baraka, Geras, and Shao Kahn. All three of them, it's General Shao now, but all three of them are in this game, so I really am happy with the roster, honestly. And I am generally very happy with the gameplay as well. I think the game plays very well. I think it's a lot more fun than Mortal Kombat 11 was. And again, I liked Mortal Kombat 11. I was not a Mortal Kombat 11 hater. However, MK1 is just better. Like, it just, in terms of sheer gameplay, it is just better, in my opinion. So, really, and also the cameos add a lot. So I appreciate that a lot of the classic characters they got in as cameos. You see a lot of cool characters that we haven't seen in a while playable, you know, characters like Goro and Sector and Striker and so on and so forth. And I do really genuinely think that the cameos add a lot to the game. They open the game up a lot. I know some people will disagree because there are meta picks and everybody's just picking the same ones all the time. However, a lot of the cameos that aren't being used a lot are still really viable right now. And I just like the gameplay dynamic of the cameos. I'll be honest, I wasn't sold. When I first saw that Mortal Kombat 1 was going to be an assist fighter, I wasn't sold. I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but now that the game has been out for a while, I've really enjoyed it. And so the cameos are nice. The gameplay is nice. I really enjoy all of that. All of that said, I'm going to keep that kind of brief because we got to talk about some of the not so nice things about Mortal Kombat 1. The very first thing that I'm going to talk about here is just the absolute state of Kombat League and the online functionality in the game. You know, in 2023, a fighting game, the online multiplayer is a huge component of what people are going to enjoy about it. Of course, not everyone is interested in online multiplayer, and that's totally fine. You enjoy the game however you want to enjoy it. But for those of us who like online ranked modes in our fighting games, I'm just not super impressed with how it is in this game. Now, I was already pretty vocally critical of Kombat League in the previous game. I think it's an overly grindy, overly annoying way to do a ranked system, like locking certain gear pieces and skins behind certain ranks and making people grind for them. I'm just not the biggest fan of that, and I don't know, Kombat League in general, because of the nature of how, you know, these certain skins and things were locked behind certain ranks as rewards, it kind of encouraged people to play, I don't want to say dishonorably because that sounds so corny, but it really was just like win at all costs. And that included doing things like roping you after rounds, going to character select and making you wait to try to make you frustrated and all that kind of stuff. Thankfully, they got rid of that by joining the rest of us in the 2020s and making you actually select your characters before going into the match. But in terms of like the actual functionality of the online, Ed Boon put out a tweet the other day, and I'm gonna put it up on screen. Shout out to Tom Brady, MK Tom Brady, because I actually saw this in his video first, and I want to shout him out because he's one of the only popular Mortal Kombat content creators and streamers that's actually being honest about these things right now. I know a lot of these like pro players who are just like making content and whatever, they're just not worried about this stuff, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, why I think that's kind of disappointing that they're not using their platform to be a little more vocal about this game and some of the things that need to be criticized about it. But you know, Tom is being pretty vocal about these things, and I appreciate that about him. And I saw this tweet in his video, and this is just absurd to me. This is absurd. We're out here putting out polls asking what players want to see next in the online functionality of this game, keep in mind all of these options are things that already exist in every other major fighting game online in 2023. Why are we having to vote on which one we want? Whether we want crossplay or we want Wi-Fi filters or we want, you know, whatever else. This is absurd. We have to vote on this? Put all of this in the game. You absolute muppet. What are you doing? Why are we voting on this? Put all of them in the game. And I wouldn't be so annoyed by this if it weren't for the fact that, again, these things are industry standard in every other fighting game. Why are Mortal Kombat fans okay with getting the short end of the stick when it comes to this stuff? We're already dealing with a game that is seriously lacking in content. It was obviously rushed out the door. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Suicide Squad got delayed, and so WB really need like a banger pushed out the door to make them some money. So I do think that this game, and most people agree, I'm not like breaking some huge news or something, but most people agree that this game is not finished. Like, it didn't release in a finished state. And one of the things that you can see is with the online functionality. Why in 2023 am I still forced to play against a Wi-Fi player for points in Kombat League in a mode where I am grinding so that I can unlock rewards? Like, look at your screen right now. If you're watching this, if you're not just listening to it, if you're watching, I intentionally took a match. This is from a while ago. You'll notice Baraka is doing pre-patch, pre-nerf damage. So this is an older match, but I'm dropping combos. I can't block things, anything. You can see the jittering. Liu Kang is out here saying things. You can't hear the audio, but he's out here like round two, fight. Like, he's like stuttering over himself because the lag is so bad and he can't get his voice lines out. It's weird sounding. By the way, I wasn't allowed to decline this match because at the match screen, the ping was fine. But guess what? My opponent is a Wi-Fi warrior. So all throughout the match, I'm sure our ping was spiking through the freaking roof. But because I couldn't skip this match with this Wi-Fi player, because the game doesn't allow me to do that, I now have to play a best of 5 set in this lag to try to get points to get these rewards. Like, it's just so stupid. The online functionality is just so stupid. I don't understand how we're not allowed to filter out Wi-Fi players still. That's something people complained about ad nauseum in Mortal Kombat 11, and they just didn't put it in this game either. They also removed crossplay. They also, I mean, this game launched with no ping display. When the game first launched, you couldn't even see the ping in the matches. They had to patch that in. That's ridiculous, man. It's just ridiculous. And if I sound annoyed, it's because I am, and not because I'm a hater of this game, but it's the opposite. I think genuinely this game has potential to be the best, or at least one of the best Mortal Kombat games in NRS's, you know, in their era, you know, the NRS era of the 4 Mortal Kombats that have come out. It has the potential to be up there among the greats, and yet there's just so many boneheaded things, and I don't know how much of it is NRS, how much of it is WB. I don't know. I don't really care. I'm just the customer who bought the game. I'm not really out here trying to make excuses for NRS. But that kind of brings me to the next point, which is just the overall like lack of content. If you see in this game, like, the skins they're just not great. Invasions just as a mode is just not very good. It's super boring. It's super tedious. It takes forever to move around. There's no map. It's just like, it's such a bare bones mode, and they really, obviously they front loaded it because the Johnny Cage Mansion level is pretty cool, but then you actually can never go back there after you finish it, and the rest of the levels are really boring. This Titan Baraka Mesa that just came out, it was like the most obnoxious fight, and literally if you had like the projectile immunity item, it just became really long and tedious because he couldn't do anything against you really, and it just went on and on and on forever, and it's just not a very good mode. I think they could improve it going forward. I see that it has potential, but it's just not very good as it is right now, and there's just a lack of other modes. There's a lack of other stuff to do. It's pretty much story and then invasion. You can grind in invasions and then doing online, and that's pretty much all there is to do in this game. But then the other big thing that is really driving me crazy, and this is about Warner, this is a AAA gaming thing in general. This is not just exclusive to NRS games or WB games, although it is exceedingly bad in this version. I hated in Mortal Kombat 11 that they locked Shao Kahn behind a pre-order, and then he was a prominent part of the story. It's like one thing if it's like, okay, it's an extra character, right? Let's say it's an extra character, like in Mortal Kombat X, Goro was an extra character. He wasn't in the story mode. Likewise, if you say do Darkseid from Injustice 2, he wasn't in the story mode. They were just extra characters. Even then, I don't like it. But then take Shao Kahn in MK11, and he is a major player in the story mode, like a major player. Why is he locked behind Day 1 DLC? That's absurd. And now you do the same thing with Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung is, spoilers for those who haven't finished the story mode, Shang Tsung is the main antagonist of the entire story mode. Why is he Day 1 DLC locked behind pre-orders? That's just so scummy. This is what I was talking about a minute ago with the Tom Brady thing. Tom is one of the only people being honest about this game right now, because how many major content creators have I seen making videos like, I got the hilarious new Halloween fatality in Kombat League? And it's like, bro, can one of you please use your platform to call out the fact that NRS is charging $12, 12 real world bucks for a 10-second long animation? That's literally what it is. Let's boil it down to what it is. It is a 10-second long animation. That's worth $12. That's over $1 a second for this fatality. Like, how is anyone okay with that? It makes no sense to me. And I don't want to hear this, oh, well, they have to make their money. Bro, they're making their money. Have you seen the Switch version? The Switch version doesn't even freaking run, and it still costs $70. Do you really think that they're not making their money just in the sales of the game and the sales of the DLC? That you think they have to turn around and sell fatalities for $12 a piece? That they have to sell Halloween skins that are literally just the base skins but the color green, and they're selling those for $6? Like, are you out of your mind? This is crazy. How is hardly anyone talking about this? I don't know, maybe it's because people want to stay at NRS good graces so they can get flown out and screw around with a game a couple months early next time a new game comes out. Like, is it worth that? Maybe it is, I don't know. I'm just frustrated with that. Obviously, with the way I talk about it at this point, I'm so fed up and I don't really care. At this point, if NRS offered to fly me out somewhere, I would tell them no, but I don't know, because I just want to enjoy the game and I just want the game to be good. And I'm really passionate about Mortal Kombat, and I love this series. It's my favorite fighting game franchise, and I just want it to be good. I don't think that's too much to ask for, is it? Is it too much to ask for? The game is just good. And the thing is frustrating. It's like the Halo Infinite situation all over again, where the actual core game is good. The game is better than Mortal Kombat 11 was as a whole, like in terms of, no, I shouldn't say as a whole, in terms of just the sheer gameplay. The problem is MK11 was a better overall package. So my hope with making these kinds of criticisms is not to dump on the game, because I'm going to keep playing the game because it's fun. I like it. But at the same time, I just want it to be good. I want it to improve. I want some of these issues addressed. You know, I don't want all of the predatory monetization and the lack of online functionality to hinder this game from being something really great, which it can easily be. If only the higher ups at NRS and WB would just allow it to reach its potential instead of making all of these boneheaded decisions time and time again. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is just a real quick thing. I really wish they would kind of get their priorities straight when it came to like balance philosophy in this game. This is not new to MK1. NRS have never been super good at balancing their games. They kind of just change the problems around. Like the problems end up becoming focused on other things when they make their patches and they make their changes. I'm not going to complain about Baraka because I think his damage is still fine, and I think he still has a lot of tools to be good. He's not top 3 anymore like he was before the patch, but I still think he's fine. He's a lot better overall than he was in MK11. He was terrible in that game. But I don't know, I think you're seeing kind of the fruit of that when you look around and you're seeing people who were complaining about Cyrax, they're now complaining about Kung Lao, and they're going to complain about Goro because Goro also gives you 1,000,000+ frames. They're going to complain about this, they're going to complain about that. And I think the design philosophy of nerf things is it's just stupid. They just shouldn't do it. I'm not saying Cyrax shouldn't have been nerfed because maybe he did need some scaling. I don't know that he needed as much as he got. They nerfed him into the freaking ground. You can still like make him work in kind of just normal play, but you're not going to see any pros using him in tournament because there's just no reason to when Kung Lao and Goro exist. But I mean, that's kind of my point, is like people complained about Cyrex so much that they just freaking nerfed him into oblivion, and I just see them doing that over and over again. I hope they prove me wrong, but Johnny, he's going to get nerfed so severely that he's, mark my words, he's going to get nerfed so bad that he's going to be like a genuine bad character after they get done nerfing him. I really think that's going to happen. That's my prediction. Maybe I'm wrong, but I really think that's what's going to happen because they seem a little more interested in nerfing the good characters instead of just buffing the bad characters. Like, just give the bad characters more power, increase their viability, make them better. You know, you don't have to make the top tiers worse. You can just make the bottom tiers better. In my opinion, that's how I would do it, but who asked me? Nobody. So anyways, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. I think Mortal Kombat 1, again, one of the reasons why I'm so hard on it right now is just because I think it has the potential. It's like a parent who is just kind of lecturing their kid, not because they don't like them or hate them, it's because they know they have the potential to be so much better, and they just don't want to see that potential squandered. I'm not saying I'm their parent, obviously, but I think the game has a lot of potential. I think I saw someone online saying that it was going to be looked back on as a stain in the franchise's history. I think the complete opposite. I think if they get their shit together and they actually balance it well and they add more content and make it more of a complete package, I think we could theoretically see Mortal Kombat 1 being one of the best in the series. There's no guarantee that that's going to happen. I just really hope it does. So anyways, I'm going to keep making content for the game because I do enjoy it, and I'm going to keep streaming it. Follow me over on twitch.tv/bootyswap4491. Shameless plug. Yeah. All right. Blah, blah, blah. Have a good one. Be blessed.